Look, I'm not saying that a video game movie adaptation or TV show isn't capable of being good. I've talked about them in the past on this very channel, and I've even enjoyed some recent video game adaptations. But the more I think about the continued prevalence of them today, the more I think that really we're completely missing out on what makes video games special with these adaptations. Because I think it's fairly obvious that what separates video games from movies and TV shows is that interactivity, the part where you actively participate and play them. That gets completely removed in the adaptations, and you might be saying, well, duh, no one's going to want to play a choose your own adventure Mass Effect TV show, which might actually not be that bad of an idea, but still, people want to sit down and passively consume what adaptation they are watching, which is all fine and good, but you still don't get almost anything out of what those games have to offer by consuming those adaptations. And honestly, I think the best we can hope for is an adaptation that tries to ground the game mechanics in its storytelling. I kind of think about Fallout Season 1 when they're explaining the different characters and their proficiencies, and it kind of reminds you that Fallout, at least in one point in time, was an RPG with different character skills and abilities, and that actually translated relatively well into the show, even if they had to explain why one character might be better at medicine than combat. Which is why I actually have a little bit of hope for that Resident Evil movie, because if it's a movie about a character who is constantly running out of ammo, constantly needing to find keys to open doors, and is always healing themselves with herbs, that is actually more indicative of how that game actually plays than any other story that they could possibly tell. So I'm not saying that game adaptations need to constantly remind the viewer of the mechanics of the game that you would engage with had you otherwise picked up the game instead of the adaptation. But more often than not, I just find myself watching these adaptations wishing I was playing the games instead. At least at that point, I would have a say in both the choices and the outcomes. I'm Nitwit, and that's where I'm at with this.